Question number 8 on the reading portion of College Board's Test 5. The main idea of the last paragraph is that Mr. Peters, all right, so what happened in the last paragraph? Apparently he himself was not aware that there had been any change, line 80. He strained his tie self-consciously. So this is the part about why he's trying to show, I guess, I don't know, that he's proper and prim. So the two women at the next table would notice him. Both these things, okay, it's like one can blame on the young man who had his, so we're talking about his past, on how he's he's a youth at heart, even though he's 45. And he's doing things, the last few lines, line 91, 92, 93. The young man was always there, tugging at Mr. Peters' elbow, again, metaphorically, making him do things that were not becoming or not acceptable, in a way, for a man of 45. So the main idea of the last paragraph is that Mr. Peters is, I almost feel like, conflicted, or he has these urges that might not be becoming of a man of 45, that he's still a young man at heart. The main idea of the last paragraph is that Mr. Peters neglects to spend any time with his family members. You might infer that, again, they might want you to pick that because of the weird, cold interaction that Limey has towards Mr. Peters, and the fact that you have this kind of middle-aged, depressed man. I don't know if they're just trying to like prey on people's assumptions or first-hand experience with, you know, these kind of like, oh, you know, my dad never spends any time with us or whatever, some weird story. We don't know that. Don't make stuff up. Don't be forced to defend something that's just absurd. And I think that's what A is. The main idea of the last paragraph is that Mr. Peters behaves as if he is a younger version of himself. I like that. Let's go to C. Is very conscious of symbols of wealth and power. Good, bad answer. C is a really good, bad answer. Because there's something about the diamond ring that is so memorable. It's almost like, that's like, it, actually, if I had to just summarize the whole piece, that's the only thing I think about is actually this diamond ring for some reason. There's something about it that's so, it encapsulates something that I think is very powerful in the story. However, this is only one thing. This is one, and this is why this is such a great question. It's one thing, the diamond ring, the fact that he wants to show it off. Is this indicative then of the main idea of the last paragraph, is that this guy, Mr. Peters, is very conscious of symbols of wealth and power? That this is the drive that he's getting at through this whole paragraph at the end, the author? This guy only cares about wealth and power. They say that once. For all we know, just because you have a diamond ring or diamond, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are just, you know, you crave power and wealth and material goods. We don't know that. It just seems like something, I think, that more of like what a dandy young man would wear. The fact that we talk about, you know, that in his past he took a picture with a bowler hat on the back, or a derby hat on the back of his head, and sitting with, you know, different girls, and he was kind of a ladies' man. I don't think that we can say that he is, you know, that he's conscious of these symbols of wealth and power, and that's the main takeaway from this. The main idea of the last paragraph is that Mr. Peters is preoccupied with the knowledge that he is growing old. I feel like D is also a really good, bad answer. D is a good, bad answer because this is like the school answer. This is the answer that you would pick in your Socratic seminar to talk about, so you get, you know, points for the day, because it sounds good, but you don't really know what it means, and neither does anyone else in the class, even your teacher. Is preoccupied with the knowledge that he's growing old. Is the main like push of the last paragraph the fact that Mr. Peters is like realizing his own mortality and his own lost youth? We actually don't understand anything about what Mr. Peters believes or thinks. We only have this omniscient narrator who's just telling us all the information about Mr. Peters' past. That we are describing him just like you would if you were invisible and you were watching the scene unfold. So I don't like that we know anything about what Mr. Peters thinks. We don't know that Mr. Peters is preoccupied with the knowledge that he's growing old. This is a classic trope, I think, in a lot of different stories. However, we don't, and it might be true in this case, however, we don't know that it's true. Because we never get the understanding of what Mr. Peters thinks about his own self. We only get the narrator's perspective. So what we do say about the last paragraph is that he behaves like he's a younger version of himself because the young man, line 90, had never for 1 second deserted Mr. Peters. this urge to always be youthful was always there, tugging at Mr. Peters' elbow, making him do things that were not becoming a man of 45. So it's saying that Mr. Peters behaves as if he's younger than he actually is. And this is just a description that we get from this all-knowing narrator. The answer number 8 is going to be B.